Okay, so this question goes over question 10 on your homework. So if I'm solving for x, first of all, I need to get the absolute value by itself. So to do that, I need to divide by -3. And I need to divide everything in the equation by -3, giving me that the absolute value of 7x plus 1 is equal to positive 7x minus 3. From here, I can now make my two equations. The first one is equal to the positive answer, so 7x plus 1 is equal to 7x minus 3. That's my first equation. And then my second equation is 7x plus 1 equals negative 7x plus 3. I have to make the -3 a positive. If I solve this first equation, I'm going to actually end up with no solutions. Absolute values are really OR equations. So just because one equation gave me no solution does not mean the entire equation has no solutions. So I'm going to continue solving this problem, giving me 14x plus 1 equals 3. And if I continue solving, I get 14x equals -2. Minus 1. So that would actually be a positive 2. And if I divide by 14, I get that x is 1/7. And so now I'm going to take 1/7 and plug it into my equation to check and see if it's an extraneous solution. So doing that gives me -3 times the absolute value of 7 times 2/7 minus 1 equals -21 times 2/7 plus 9. So inside the absolute value, the 7 cancels with the denominator of 7. I have 2 minus 1. Here, -21 and 7 cancel to give me -3. So -3 times 2 is -6 plus 9. -3 times the absolute value of 1 equals 3. -3 times 1 does not equal 3. So this proves to be a false statement. And since both answers, one was no solution and the other just doesn't work at all, that tells me that there are no solutions to this entire equation. So 11 is -5 times the absolute value of 2x minus 1 equals -3x minus 44. I need to start this problem the same way I did the last one, by dividing everything by -5. That gives me the absolute value of 2x minus 1 equals positive 3/5 x plus 44/5. Now that I have the absolute value alone, I can make my two equations. 2x minus 1 equals 3/5 x plus 44/5, and the exact opposite, -3/5 x minus 44/5. So I'm not loving the fractions, so I'm going to start off by multiplying every single thing in the equation by the denominator 5. That gives me 10x minus 5 equals 3x plus 44, which is going to work out quite nicely when I go to solve, giving me that x, oops, I'm thinking ahead, that should be 44 still, giving me 7x equals 49, and x is 7 for my first equation. Same thing here, I want to get rid of the fractions, so I multiply every single thing by 5, and I get 10x minus 5 equals -3x minus 44. I'm going to add 3x to both sides. 13x minus 5 equals -44, plus 5 to both sides. 13x equals -39. Divide by 13, and I get x equals -3. So I still need to check my answers to make sure that the numbers that I got made sense and are not extraneous solutions. So I'm going to plug in -3, getting -5 times the absolute value of 2 times -3 minus 1 equals -3 times -3 minus 44. On this side, I get -5 times the absolute value of -7. And over here, when I simplify, I get -35. -5 times the absolute value of 7 does in fact equal -35, so that is a true solution. For the next one, I'm going to plug in +7 for x and get 2 times 7 minus 1 equals -3 times 7 minus 44. Again, when I simplify this, I get -5 times the absolute value of 13 equals -65, which is true. So both solutions are solutions to this equation. Neither one gave me a false statement.